God's sakes, there we go. Hey, there we go. It's all working again. My name's Dick Dawson, and tonight we've got Debate Night on the Shills, the show where we respect opinions and we revere the facts. And in the end, may the best argument win. Tonight, nothing less than the shape of the Earth is on trial as we put flat Earth versus globe Earth. We've got SeekTruthSpeakTruth coming at you for the globe Earth, and we've got Spurskimo coming at you for flat Earth. But before I introduce our debaters, competitors, I'm not sure which word to use there yet, but we'll get one. We got to bring in my partner on the show, Aimee Hogan. How's it going over there, Aimee?
I am doing great. Thank you. I am so excited about tonight. We have a great debate coming up, and I want to welcome everyone in the chat and thank you for coming. And I want to welcome SeekTruthSpeakTruth and Chemo. Thank you so much both for showing up tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So yeah, let's get to our panel right away. And for our first appearance here on Shills Debate Night, doing the globe side of tonight's argument, we have ex-Flat Earther SeekTruthSpeakTruth. Buddy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Dick, hello, mate. Thanks for having me. Aimee, Chemo. Brilliant. Yeah, just absolutely looking forward to this, and bring it on. That's all I can say.
Excellent. We got somebody who's ready. And doing the flat Earth side of tonight's argument, coming back for a second appearance, somebody we had a great time with last time. We've got Spurskimo. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? You could say ex-Glober versus ex-Flat Earther. Because I used to be a Glober, just like everybody else, yeah. So this will be interesting,
That's a good point. So yes, we'll redo a quick intro and we'll say our ex-Globe Earther returning for a second appearance. Spurskimo. There we go. Better.
Very good.
I've been one of them too.
So tonight we're going to go back and forth with a few timed rounds, and how we're going to have it is 3 minutes per round. They're going to first present their opening argument, so you know how they feel they're going to achieve their debate win and so on, whatever they feel like. Afterwards, we'll go into a back and forth where we have 3 minute timed rounds again, and one person will start, the other person will respond back and forth. And then when that's done, we will get into a more informal back and forth, still moderated to make sure everything is good. And we will get some viewer interaction done as well. So I know that we have to roll the dice here. So let's see here. You both pick a number and I'll roll the dice and see who's closest. So let's see. Spurs, you've already been here before. So you get the first pick. Number between 1 and 6.
3.
Okay, and SeekTruth.
4.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I clicked the button and the roll is a 1. Spurskimo, you get first opening round. The clock will start as soon as you do, and the floor is yours. Opening remarks.
Yeah, I mean, of course, just to explain how the Earth is not a globe, and I want to discuss models and the model of the heliocentric model that you have, the theory, and how it's a reification fallacy. How I understand it, and obviously you can correct me if I'm wrong in your rebuttal here, but how I understand it, we've always known the Earth is flat. This is how history has shown us through depictions and people describing the Earth as being motionless. And through just various books we can look at. I mean, you can use the Bible, for example, that talks about the Earth being flat. So obviously we fast forward, and then the idea was that the Earth could be a globe. So for me, these numbers were completely made up. There was no evidence to support the radius, distance to the sun, distance to the stars, planets, things like that. All they were trying to do over the last 500 years, as I understand, was trying to build a model that could explain things like seasons or eclipses, and things of that nature. So yeah, I mean, that's what I want to focus on tonight. Is the model a working model? how we can validate that model, and see if this model comports with reality at all. So I probably won't be too much long, because that's pretty much where I am. That's the premise, and we can look at many different aspects. Like I say, the geometry. We're going to look at if the measurements have been validated, or if somebody is just guessing their way through, and then obviously looking to try and make it comport with reality, which we're finding obviously that it doesn't, because obviously, as you well know, if you're not aware, then the horizon is not physical. If the horizon is not physical, then it's not measurable. Therefore, we cannot have any real-world measurements that tell us things are disappearing beyond the horizon, bottom first, because that's not measurable. That is an observation that we make. It could be just an optical illusion. How long have I got left? How long do I have?
Sorry, you're on a good 30 seconds. You're okay.
Yeah. So basically, just in a nutshell, we're just looking at the model. I would like to question the model. Flat earthers don't have a model. We don't subscribe to a model, simply because, as I said, this is what we would call misplaced concreteness. There's no way any flat earther could validate a model in its entirety. This would be purely based on a guess. So yeah, that's pretty much where I am, just to discuss if the model is what you say it is, and if it does comport with reality.
Alrighty. Good opening remarks. Okay. I think everybody knows where you're coming from, where you're going, and we can hand this over to Seek Truth, Speak Truth now for opening remarks. You get 3 minutes, and the floor is yours, and I'll start the clock as soon as you do.
Yeah, cool. I mean, opening remarks, really, model is quite a fundamental thing to how we view reality. And I look at Flat Earth claiming that they don't need a model is just, it's a massive cop-out for anybody that follows actual science. Why can't Flat Earth explain seasons or eclipses? Just two things there that Spurs listed that the globe's got covered quite easily, and Flat Earth has no answer. I know Spurs is going to call the globe Earth a religion when he is the one built by utter faith. I would like to think that Spurs is going to offer some type of evidence other than it looks flat. We need more than our own senses when using science. I'd like to talk about the Virgin Galactic flight, where civilians are now going into space. So not only would they, whoever they are, have to be covering up the shape of our Earth, we also now have civilians just lying about it too, or we would need to. Science is all about saying we don't know, but then they will endeavour to get the best known answer so far. There is no gatekeeper of the truth. If there was any suggestion the Earth could be flat, it would still be being studied today. If only somebody could show some actual, testable, repeatable evidence. Submitting an academic paper for publication and potentially getting it accepted does not require any type of qualification whatsoever. You don't need a PhD. You don't even need to have a college degree. I have to ask, is Spurskimo happy with these types of discussions online? Why isn't he or any of his peers doing anything about this whatsoever in regards to actually changing it? I can list off 2 celestial points of rotation, navigation, curvature being taken into account with large bridges. The list goes on. And this really, I just hope Spurs tonight will provide us with some tangible evidence that he is claiming is nothing other than using blind faith. Yeah, that's my opener.
All righty. I think we have 2 very clearly defined paths that we will be on here, everybody. Aimee, did you want to get a couple of those super chats in, and then we'll get to our back and forth proper?
Actually, yes, I would like to do that. Thank you. I have 3 of them. We have JSS Tiger for $5 says, towards a civil discussion. Get on it, guys. Stringer News 1 for $5 as well says, congratulations to Seek Truth, Speak Truth on the easy win. And then Gary Bennett for £2 says, Chemo's lies made England use the UEFA Euro 2020. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And Gary Isla White, IOW there, did a membership upgrade. Thank you very much. I mean, your family here. So thank you. Thank you. So let's get to our back and forth here. And we'll turn to Chemo. And you've got 3 minutes on the clock to present an argument that you would like Seek Truth to follow up on. So the clock will start when you do. The floor is yours.
Yeah, like I said, the place I'd like to begin is with the model. As I've said in the beginning, we've always known the Earth was flat. This was never in contention. Just about every civilization had a depiction of the flat Earth. So that's not something that, I would have to provide, as the world already knew that the Earth was flat. Now, as I said, we fast forward several hundred years later, and for me, a bunch of guys came together and concocted a model to suggest that the Earth is a ball. There were no empirical measurements, no repeatable measurements. We look at Eratosthenes, for example. They put sticks in the ground. They measured angles, and then assumed that this was because of curvature without actually measuring the physical curvature. They assumed the distance to the sun. Again, in the first 100 years, they assumed the sun was 1 million miles away, and then it went to 10 million miles away, 50 million miles away throughout the 500 years. And then obviously it's the 93 million miles that we're told today. Again, with no actual physical measurements, purely based on their best guess, you see. Now, like I said, I'd like to focus on the model. I brought up lunar eclipses. You brought up eclipses. I brought up eclipses. So we like to talk about the lunar eclipse. How do we explain a lunar eclipse? Do you understand how a lunar eclipse is supposed to work? What is the evidence for a lunar eclipse? I understand that the Earth's shadow is what we see on the moon, but again, observations in the real world, I would suggest, do not comport with that model. So like I said, I'm not going to dwell too much on any other subjects and kind of gunshot different points, because you were saying things like we should have papers, we should go to the media, we should have that Nobel Prize. But I mean, again, we can get into all of that obviously throughout the night. But for me, the most important thing is, do we have a working model? Now, you've obviously said yes. So I would like an explanation of how an eclipse on the globe works. So that's just me. That's me done there.
All right. So let's see here. I will do the exact same. 3 minutes on the clock. It's your retort here, response, whatever you want to say there, and Seek Truth, Speak Truth. The floor is yours.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, a lunar eclipse is literally one celestial body blocking another celestial body in the sky. You can literally look at it with your own eyes, and it is one of the greatest proofs, certainly, that the Earth is not flat, and certainly that there is no close and local moon, which most flat earthers would claim to be true. I would love an answer as to how a lunar eclipse works on a flat earth, because as stated before, on the model or the thing that we see that matches reality, there's a perfect explanation of lunar eclipses. So yeah, I'd like to press maybe for an answer on how lunar eclipses would work on a flat planet with a close and local sun, if that's what you claim. You probably won't.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand. Yeah, we can do.
Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Hold on. Yeah. Time around. So let's let him finish here. I'll put a few seconds back on.
Yeah, and I mean, but I can't see why anyone would think you shouldn't be going to the media and going places with flat earth. When I was a flat earther, that is all I was thinking of, was we've got to get together as a group of people and come up with these models. How can we explain exactly what these guys are explaining? And the second I did realize, we can't explain anything, that was when I obviously realized the earth therefore cannot be flat. But if it is a possibility, why is nobody going further than just posting and putting videos on YouTube? I think that's a point that should be brought up. Why would it even need to exist, flat earth? Why would the shape of the planet even need to be hidden? And also why you think you don't need a model. I'll relinquish the rest of my time there.
Alrighty. So now we're flip the script. So Seek Truth, you got the 3 minutes to start, and Chemo will respond. I'm pretty sure everybody in the viewers out there are scoring themselves round by round to see who they think is on top, or maybe not so much. And we will be doing a little poll with the viewers very soon, because everything matters when it comes to the viewers. So, Seek Truth, you get to start this round. Pose it on up. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to really just concentrate on, what does Chemo believe? Does he believe the earth is flat? Does he believe that our atmosphere needs to be contained? There's things I think we need this man to state so we can actually have a logical argument to actually move things forwards. Say, how far away does he believe the moon is? Does he believe the moon is a physical object? So I really, really would like to just press home and to get across the point that the burden of proof is on Chemo. It's accepted within science, within academia, that we live on a globe. So it really is up to Chemo and the flat earth guys to get together and actually start changing people's minds away from YouTube. I'd like to ask basically 2 real questions, and I'd like him to answer. Does he believe the moon is a physical object, and how far away does he think it is?
All right.
Relinquishing the time.
Okay. Cool. I think we got that good. So, Chemo, you know where you're at. I'll start the clock when you do.
Just to answer your questions directly, is the moon physical? It looks physical. We have no idea. We haven't been there. We would need to go there to verify it. How far is the moon? Again, it looks local. I haven't measured it. No one's measured it that we know of. So we'd have to measure it. To go over your other points, you said about the atmosphere. What about the atmosphere? What do we know about the atmosphere? That would be the question I'd have back to you. You're saying that I need an argument. Well, not quite, because once we falsify the model, this is independent of replacement. So just because we falsify one aspect of the model doesn't require a replacement. So we don't have to give you something else. All we have to do is look at the claim and either affirm it or debunk it. You're asking me, what do I believe? Again, it's not about what I believe. It's not what I think. It's about what we can demonstrate. Yes, of course, we can get into what I believe and what I think, if that's what we like to do. But that for me is not what will tell us what we know to be true based on what I believe. You said you believe it because it's the accepted view. It's the consensus, as it were. There are lots of consensuses in the world. It doesn't necessarily make them true. So we spend all day on that, about what people believe whether the majority believe it or not. So again, that doesn't really make it true. So yeah, in terms of the moon, it looks like it's physical, like I say. But I after today, we'll see that the moon has its own light and cannot possibly be reflected sunlight. And for the distance, like I say, the sun and the moon is as it looks local. So the distance, again, I wouldn't want to assume because I haven't made those measurements. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, there's a lot in the chat, so we'll just leave the viewers to decide, where we're at on that one. So we'll flip the script again, and we're coming around to Spurskimo, and you get to start this round. When you're ready to go for it. I'll kick the clock in, and challenge them. Here you go.
So what's happening? Do I ask questions now again?
Yeah. You got 3 minutes 3 minutes if you need. Lay out something that you want Seek to answer for or respond to.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I want to get to the back and forth over the lunar eclipse and try and talk about it, how it works, observations, how we know it's the moon's, the Earth's shadow, as it were. I want to play. Well, I don't know if I can play it, but if can you play videos here? Can we play videos and things like that?
Yep. If you want to bring something up, the little share the monitor button down there, no problem.
What if I give you the link? Will that work?
No problem.
Yeah, I'll send it to your
okay.
To your Discord. So it's just less than 3 minutes, that is basically. So it probably would have been better to play that instead of me talking, because that essentially is the point I'm trying to make.
Just play that, and that can be your 3 minutes if you want.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's 2 minutes 45. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I just need about 15 seconds here, and it should be good to go. And that right there.
It's essentially, as Speak Truth has told us, it's so you've got the sun, in line with the Earth and the moon, casting its shadow on, casting the shadow of the Earth on the moon, as I understand.
Okay.
Yeah, so after we have a look at this video, I would like to, just hear what his explanation is, and then obviously we can talk about that explanation.
Okay, let me just get the monitoring set up. For some reason, you can't do that until you go into this weird. I don't know why they do it that way, but hold on a minute here. Let me get this all set up and ready because I want everybody to be able to hear it. And we've got the video loaded up. We can leave the YouTube chat there. That works out pretty good. Okay, so Seek Truth. You should be able to hear this. If you don't hear it, let me know right away. And I guess this is Spurs' turn. So here it comes.
In the morning. It's about 18 degrees out here. Standing on top of Mounds, east of St. Louis. Behind me is a full moon, which will soon be going into a full lunar eclipse as it sets. While at the same time behind us the sun is already beginning to rise. So it's going to be a very interesting beautiful experience. So it's about 6:55, and as you can see, we're a little bit brighter out here. You can see the shadow creeping across the moon. It's a little hard to see, I'm sure, in the camera, but from here you can see it clearly. It's about a third of the way covered. The moon's starting to turn nice and orange. Over my right shoulder, you can see downtown St. Louis in the nice early morning sun, which is getting very bright. The eastern horizon behind us. Yeah, we can see it's practically day here yet. We still have the moon out, which is slowly eclipsing, and it's still cold. You can still see it just a little bit. What I find very interesting is I was expecting the shadow to come upward across the moon, as it would go down and it would pass into shadow, and actually it's going the other way around.
All right.
Yeah, and that's it. So that basically that contradicts what you've just told us. Seek truth, speak truth. We've got the sun and the moon at the same apparent horizon. How is that explained in your model?
Quite perfectly, easily. I think it's known as like a Senelinian, something like that. Might have pronounced it wrong, but it is perfectly explained, and it is due to refraction. And it, like I say, the solar system is huge, so these things are so far away. The tiny globe in between. It's just an effect of our own atmosphere, and that is exactly perfectly explained on a globe, and there is no explanation again. I mean, how would you explain that on a flat Earth, Spurskimo? I'll ask you that, obviously. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible. The moon is a perfect thing to explain where we live. Spurs didn't claim, but he said he assumes that the moon is close, as it looks close and local. But there are observations that you can make that will quite easily rule out a close moon. You can easily disprove flat Earth just by moon observations alone. Just travel around. You can work out your longitude on the actual globe just by the rotation of the moon. It's just such a perfect and good example to look at. And like I say, these Senelinians only happen in one location, and that is predicted on the globe. And there is no explanation or any way of possibly explaining that on a flat Earth. Yeah, I'll relinquish my 3 minutes.
All right. So here, let me get us back over. And so that was, I just had to I had to get my little thingy here. So that's the response to the video. Okay, there we go. So now looking at the clock here, and we have time for one more set of timed rounds, and then we're going to get into a bit more of a free flow and let you guys, have a little bit more room to play. So since Chemo did start, it's only perfect that it's your turn right now. Seek truth, speak truth. So you get to lead off with something you would like having a response to, and it's our last round.
Okay. I'd like to ask, why is there no accurate map of a flat Earth? Taken models completely out of the equation. A map is just a physical, scaled-down representation of reality. If the Earth was flat, a flat Earth map, it would, whoever made the flat, it would be the easiest thing ever. A toddler could work it out. And people that have tried have never, ever been able to actually work out a way to navigate around a flat planet when you take into consideration having like a northern and southern hemisphere. So, yeah, I mean, why is there no way of working out how to travel on a 2D surface if we are living on a 2D surface? Why do we have to travel using projections of a globe? I relinquish my 3 minutes.
Okay. All righty. So I think that's pretty good to the point, easy to follow. So we're going to hand it over to Spurs for his response, and then we're going to kick this into the second side of the show. So, Kimo, it's all yours. Take it away, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're saying a lot, but you're not saying actually anything. It seems to me you're just parroting, obviously, the key phrases that you've heard in the Globe Earth community. Now, we're talking about this model that's supposed to represent reality. We just saw an observation that doesn't represent reality, because you just explained to me how a lunar eclipse should or shouldn't work, and the observations in the real world, they go against what you claim, which is the sun, the moon, and the earth are all lined up together. So again, you haven't really said anything to demonstrate what we already know about the model. Okay, it's a mathematical equation. I'm sure you probably don't even know the maths for the half of the equations. So what we're looking for is a practical demonstration of the model. And obviously the real world is a good example of a practical demonstration, and we can see that the sun and the moon there are on the same horizon. They're both in front of the observer. So we have a lunar eclipse in the daytime, which would make no sense. And also you saw the observer there was confused, as it was opposite to what we're usually told. So I mean, you're offering like I say, the buzzwords, the key phrases, but you're not providing anything of substance to support your globe model. You're just saying, well, it works, we know it works, because that's what the consensus is. So I feel I should just support this side because it makes me feel more comfortable. So if you have anything more to offer about the globe and the model, or present something that shows us that we are what we say we are, other than just explain and preach that we're on this rotating, curving object flying in a vacuum. I mean, we can look at all of those points. The whole entire model defies physics. You see, you've got this gas pressure, or atmospheric pressure, as it were, with no force, without a container. Again, this defies physics. Where we have a vacuum of space without a container. Again, this defies physics. We have so-called rockets flying around in a vacuum, again, with no demonstration of objects flying around in a vacuum that we can demonstrate. Now, of course, you'll say, well, we have to believe and trust that they're doing these things. And of course, yes, if you just want to believe. But if you're more curious and want to know more of how these things work mechanically, well, then a practical demonstration would be the key, you see. So again, your entire model defies physics. And, if you're going to say, well, I don't understand, or you don't get it, or you just have to believe, well, then let's take a look at a physical demonstration of any of the claims, i.e. Earth rotation, cause and effect, curvature, measurements practically done out there, and then obviously gas pressure without a container of any kind. So that's what we're looking for, to know that we're on a globe. There's supposed to be science supporting the heliocentric model. With flat Earth, it doesn't require science because there's no observed phenomenon. There's nothing on the flat Earth that makes you question what caused the flat Earth. There's nothing that caused the flat Earth that we can test scientifically. The sun, we can't test what the sun is scientifically. We can try to make measurements, but obviously that would have to be done physically in some way. Otherwise, again, you're assuming what the sun is and the distance. The same as with the moon. the distance, what it is, all of those things, you see. So, I mean, again, how long have I got?
Well, we're a tad over, but I'm just going to let you finish because it's the last of the time rounds. And what I'll do, to be fair, is I'll let SeekTruth start the more open chat.
Sure, absolutely. So, like I say, you're not really offering anything called substance. Like I say, the ancients knew the Earth was flat. We've always known the Earth to be flat. We observed the Earth to be flat. And then, like I said, a bunch of guys came up with a formula to suppose that we're on a ball spinning fly through space. Now, there's no evidence. None whatsoever. There are no real pictures because obviously those pictures violate physics. Again, you've got this ball of gas surrounded by a vacuum. Now, we all know that gas would fill the available space. Now, again, if you're going to introduce gravity, you're going to have to describe which gravity. Are you talking about Newtonian gravity? Are you talking about Einsteinian gravity? If you're going to say they complement one another, they're built off one another, you're going to have to demonstrate once again what the difference is, how we know what the difference is, and obviously look at the cause and effect. So again, I've said a lot of things where the response could be, well, you just don't understand. Well, again, like I say, if I don't understand, let's have a look at a demonstration of any kind, any sort, to validate any of the claims of the heliocentric model, as if we were told, you see? So that's me done.
Okay. All right.
But I can go on if you want more.
Well, we're good. Let's switch to the time rounds. The timing is perfectly on the clock. It's awesome. It's great. Love it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the timed rounds here, and I'm going to put a little thing in the chat right now, and the mods will be dropping it as well. And it's who won the timed rounds. SeekTruthSpeakTruth, put a 1 in chat, and if you think Spurskimo won the timed rounds, put a 2 in chat. Drop your numbers now, everybody, and we'll see those numbers. So let's see. We'll get Aimee in for a second. We'll give you guys just a chance to look over your notes and stuff, and then we're going to turn to SeekTruthSpeakTruth to start a more informal chat. But Aimee, what do you think? That was really good, wasn't it?
It was very good. I really like the way this has worked out. Nice and easy, nice and calm, and we get to hear both points, and this is really good. I'm really excited about that. And so we were having a good night so far. Plus, we did get from JSS Tiger $5. Okay, gas pressure. Helicopters can't make rescues at the top of Everest due to low air pressure. Tangible proof of a pressure gradient.
Oh,
so thank you very much, JSS Tiger, for that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so I'm going to put the set into its automated switch mode, and from here out, unless we've got one more for Aimee, but from here out, unless I'm needed, one sec, sorry, but from here out, unless I'm needed, you guys are going to just kind of have more of a back and forth. I am going to watch how to make sure that everybody gets a chance to respond. And so if you ask a question and he starts answering, don't jump right in again. Give the person time to answer, and I just might not be needed. Let's hope for it. So Aimee, take over, and then we'll start up round 2.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Mike Bertelson for $5 says, Chemo ran away from the map question. I wonder why. And I'm sorry, I'm only the messenger. Thank you very much, though, Mike. I appreciate it.
All right. So, here we go. I'm going to hit the magic button. SeekTruthSpeakTruth, you get to start us off here. There's no real time limit. Try not to be 5 minutes because then he has to make so many notes to answer it all. But, let's get a little informal. We'll be looking for any viewer comments as well. And, here we go. So SeekTruth, start us off.
Yeah, I mean, well, I had this written down, but Mike just said it himself. Chemo completely sidestepped the question of why we have no map and then just rambled on about things I hadn't even mentioned. So I would like to just ask straight away, why do we not have a flat Earth map if the Earth is flat?
When you say flat Earth map, what do you mean by that?
An in-scale representation of reality. So you would be able to travel distances and time how long it took you to get to that distance, and then map out the sizes of continents, and then you could put those down onto a 2D two-dimensional piece of paper, scale it down perfectly, and then you would be able to travel perfectly off a map that's flat, and you could put the whole globe on that, rather than have projections where you would say have a North Pole projection or a South Pole projection, where obviously south of that equator, things just get massively, massively distorted. That is so huge a fail for Flat Earth that now on this side of the side of truth, I cannot see how Flat Earthers can't get that into their heads that we should be able to scale this down, guys. And there's one Flat Earther that did try it, and he's an ex-Flat Earther again now. I can't remember his name, but he had about 60,000 subscribers. I'm sure someone in the chat will mention him. But he tried it, and he was one of the very few people to actually try and make a map. And he realised it's impossible. Therefore, Flat Earth impossible.
Okay. So just before I answer that, is it possible you can post that video in your chat there so people can see what I'll be speaking about, if later on here, because it's the lunar eclipse is what I want to focus on. But I will answer this question. Is that all right, Dick?
Yeah, just before you start, that will be in our main chat room in our Discord server in 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, I just meant in the YouTube live stream. So
okay. I'll put the YouTube link to it. Okay, no problem. Here we go. Emo video.
Yeah. So in terms of maps, I would go, but let me kind of So I would go with Google Earth. I say that because Google Earth has different features or functions. When you zoom in to Google Earth, you get real images of the Earth, and not animated anyway. And that is, to me, I don't see curvature on those Google images. I see flat, like we see on the Earth. And obviously, as you zoom out, the animation kicks in, and then it starts to show curvature. And obviously that curvature is only animated, it's not in the real world. If they had a real world image of the globe and curvature, you'd zoom out and you would see a real Earth being zoomed out. So for me, the best map is Google Earth, because as I said, Google Earth use those cars with those cameras on top, and they just map the Earth in that in that way, again indicating no curvature whatsoever. So in terms of mapping, I would go with Google Earth, because again you can flatten that out into a flat map, or you can curve it into an animated CGI 3D reification model, and go with the idea that the animation is the real world. But in terms of zooming in, when it's real photography, real images, I would go with Google Earth as a flat Earth map. But like I say, before you jump on, it's using a globe, because again, when you zoom out, that's when you get this CGI globe, okay, that doesn't represent reality, which is why obviously they use that CGI animated globe. Yes, but obviously when you zoom in, you get the pictures from either aircraft, aeroplanes, or from the ground, when obviously, like I said, with those cars. So for me, Google Earth is the best thing to use for a map, best application for a map.
Well, Google Earth isn't actually a map, it's a representation of our globe, but you say obviously animated and things the reason they use aeroplanes to fly over is to get good images, to get a bit closer, to have more resolution in your shots. Well, obviously you must realize the further away you get from something, the worse the picture will become. So that's why obviously with Google Earth, etc., they're going to use closer images, stitch it all together, and that's just basically how you're then going to be able to look at things more accurately that will match our reality. So Google Earth.
That's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Is you've got a choice. You're saying, well, it's a globe, but the only part of that is the animated globe. But when you zoom in, you have reality. You see. Now, if you were to put a triangle on the surface of the real pictures, you would get a triangle that adds up to 180. You see? Now
that's why we know we live on a globe, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. Spherical axis. And that is a good way of working out that we do indeed live on a globe, because the internal angles add up to more than 180 degrees. So, yeah, I mean, that itself proves the globe with the measurements. You can, I'm sure, do it yourself if you've got two other friends. There's many ways of measuring it. The drop in horizon. I mean, would you believe on a flat Earth that the horizon rises to eye level at all times with altitude?
No. The horizon's not physical. So because the horizon's not physical, it's capable of anything here. But what do you think the Earth is then? Do you think it's like a hologram? I mean, it's a physical object. You need a physical horizon for there to be any type of apparent horizon. And then you'd just be able to work out the average of that from certain distances over and over again. And that's where you know where the horizon will be. There's got to be something physical. What do you think the planet is constantly changing shape, or? No. I mean, again, you said spherical axis, yeah?
Yeah.
So have you made that measurement yourself? I mean, you don't have to.
No.
I'm not saying that you must. I'm not trying to get you. I'm just saying, have you done that yourself?
No, I haven't. No, but
so do you know anyone? Do you know anyone that's done that?
No, but that is one of my favourite things about science, really, is the collective knowledge that it creates. And you don't have to yourself then recreate history every time over and over again. It gets done a good few times. A few people do it. It gets tested. People try to prove them wrong because scientists love proving people wrong. And if they can't prove it wrong, it becomes accepted science.
Okay, so again, I'm just asking. So you say that you haven't done it, which is fair enough. You don't know anyone who has done it, right?
Yeah, very right. Yeah.
So you haven't done it. We don't know anyone who's done it. So you kind of just believe somebody's done it.
Not at all. No, I believe I believe the collectiveness of the scientific community has done it, and it's been tested over and over again. That's the thing, is like with anything like that, is you can just say, oh, have you done it yourself? But I could sit here all minutes.
I'm just trying to figure out. Well, I'm just trying to figure out.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm trying to find out where I am with you.
Hold on. We're getting a little bit steppy, so let's make sure we get to finish our thoughts here, guys. So, Seek, you were speaking there. Make sure your thoughts finished, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, no, I was just going to kind of say, it always comes to like, have you measured this? Have you measured that? But I haven't seen anything measured from flat Earth when in relation to this is a flat Earth and we can prove it. But all I hear is globe proof. And I'd like to see where is this proof that there is no curvature? Where's the proof? Where's the evidence?
Oh, right, yeah, okay. So like I said, this is what we're trying to figure out now is, has anyone that we know of measured the curvature? Now, you're saying, yes, they have, but you don't know anyone. You haven't done it yourself. I haven't measured curvature. So how do we know that somebody has measured curvature?
Do you believe in sort of experts within their field, and do you trust them? If you know what I mean, do you go to the doctor if you have a sore throat?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and there's people that are trustworthy people. With science, I mean, what do you think scientists are at the minute? Then are the scientists all getting it wrong, or are they all lying? Because there'd either have to be a massive conspiracy to hide the shape of our planet, or, you know, the scientists are a little bit stupid actually, and you guys over at the debate team there have worked this all out.
Well, I mean, you're asking like you're doubting the globe. Are you asking because you're doubting the globe?
No, I've got no doubts in the globe whatsoever.
Let's look at that then. Let's look at, because we're supposed to be on a ball, right? A globe spinning through space. So if we're not on a flat plane, we're trying to find the evidence. Because like I said, the ancients knew the earth was flat. Then obviously a new generation came along and said, well, no, it's not flat. And here's why. So I'm trying to find out from you the here's why. So far, no one has any measurements that we know of. You haven't done it. You don't know anyone who's done it. But you're saying somebody somewhere has done it. Yeah, we just assume they must have done it, right?
Thousands of people have done it. Students do it. Like they say, the Eratosthenes you know, 2 sticks, but university students do it using 3, 4, 5 sticks. And, you know, these were the ancients back in the day, the ancient Greeks, and they were the ones that slowly worked it out. You know, that is how science became. I mean, why would the shape of the earth need to be hidden? I mean, answer that one.
We can definitely get to that, but you kind of scattergun at the moment. You're saying that thousands of people have made measurements, you see, and yet we can't provide one observation of somebody actually at work measuring the curvature. Why is that?
No, you can. You can literally just go on YouTube and type in somebody surveying the curvature of Earth. I've sat there and watched them myself. And there's a guy, Jesse Kozlowski, I think. There's many people out there that measure the curvature every day for their jobs. Geodetic land surveyors, people that are, well, you're going to say I'm scattergunning, but I'm just reiterating the fact that many, many people rely on the fact that we do have Earth curvature. Yeah, I mean,
okay. So you brought up.
What do you say to that? Like, what do you say to the people that rely on the Earth's curvature? What are they? Where are they getting it wrong?
No, again, I'm not accusing anyone of getting anything wrong. I mean, again, I'm just simply inquiring how they do these things. So, for example, Eratosthenes. Can you walk me through how you understand Eratosthenes and how they did it?
It really doesn't matter how I would understand it, because it's just repeatable yourself. If you know what I mean, you can just get a few friends together and actually repeat it yourself. You'd measure the shadows. That's as far as my knowledge goes with the actual experiment. But there's many others, like the drop in the horizon. It would be expected on a flat Earth that the horizon would rise as you rise. And it doesn't. There's a bit of an echo somewhere. I'm not sure who that is.
Is that for me? I'm not sure.
I think so.
Well, let me adjust my mic.
Aimee and I were muted, so it's definitely from one of yourselves.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, let's go back. I mean, why is there no map? Why is there no map? No, still echoing.
Oh gosh. Okay, one sec.
Does maybe somebody have the stream running in the background? That sometimes can do it as well, because I've done it before.
No, I haven't. I haven't got it running.
Okay.
Oh, we just lost Chemo. Okay, he's going to be back in a second, I guess. So,
okay.
Here he is. Okay.
There we go. So in the meantime, do you want me to do the super chats we got?
Yes, please.
Yes, that sounds good.
Please.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to do the super chats really quickly. We've got 2. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, Google Earth isn't a map, but is a globe. And then Stringer News 1 for $5 said, congratulations to Spurskimo for conceding that the Earth is a spinning, quote unquote, animated globe. You win, STST. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, let me just make sure, Spurs, when you were in and out, I just had to copy a link back in. So just say something for me to make sure your thing comes up and everything.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Is everything okay?
Yep. Perfect. All good. All good. All right. So, yeah, we'll let you guys get back to it here. I can't remember who was talking at the time. Does anybody remember?
Yeah, we're trying to establish how they've measured the radius, the curvature. I brought up Bertelson. You said it can be done, but how would I do it? So I would take a stick. You're saying I would measure the angle?
Like I say, that really does not matter. I'm not suggesting how. I'm not saying sitting here now, like telling you how to measure that specific thing. You can look it up. All I'm saying is that is one way that millions upon millions of people have proven to themselves that we live on a globe. They go through university. A flat earther will say, oh, they've been indoctrinated. I would like to touch more on the things like that, really. I've had no proof or evidence from you whatsoever at the minute that there is a flat earth. You've had no map. You refuse that a model is needed. You actually even stated earlier, flat earth does not need science. You know, I take that as a bit of a concession, really. You've just shown me nothing, dude. Like, absolutely nothing.
Well, you know, as I understand it, you know, you see what I see. So we see the horizon. It appears horizontal. So any more than that, we're going to have to go with assumptions if we're not going to actually physically measure it, which is why I said the ancients already suggested or knew, in fact, that the Earth was flat. And then obviously years later, we were told that it's not flat. So we're here now today.
They worked it out. They worked it out, dude. Like, the ancients are ancient. And, you know, like, we've now technologically advanced from that period. Some ancients thought the Earth was flat, of course. We were not as advanced as a species then, but we have that echo is still there, dude. That's so annoying.
Goodness sake.
Oh, everybody home still? That was an unexpected moment. I'm kind of surprised. Oh, Chemo's got himself muted in the Ninja app there. So maybe just something in the background. Real life does happen at times. Yeah,
that it does. So in the meantime, if it's okay, I'm going to jump in here and say, if anybody has any questions for any of the combatants here, or the debaters, as we should call them, please feel free to tag the shills and I will get them read out for you. Okay, thank you so much.
all right, cool. Oh, here we go. All good.
Are you guys getting the echo as well?
I wasn't that time. No.
Sorry?
I can hear you now perfectly.
No echo
Yes.
now, yeah? Okay, fantastic.
Nope, sounds great.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, why are we more? You know, like, you keep bringing up the ancients, but like, why did they know more than we do now? What, you know, why had they not discovered other things about other things, scientific or what? You know, geological. Why do you put so much trust in the ancients?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, again, I was an ex-glober. Like I said, the ancients, they said it was flat, and obviously we said, well, no. There's evidence to suggest that it's not flat. But like I said, we find today there is no evidence, not that you know of, that you can provide. Again, we have to kind of trust, as you said, like a doctor. If a doctor says something, we just have to trust that the doctor is correct, you see.
But the doctors soon get found out, you know, if they're over-prescribing pills or mispracticing, they'll be kicked out of the practice and they won't be able to be doctors anymore. Anybody of these levels of profession that we trust, you are claiming that all of those people are either lying or they're stupid. Literally, there is only two options, that you are leaving millions upon millions of people. And that is a conspiracy.
And like a doctor, we go to the doctor, we can ask the doctor questions. But when it comes to the people that you're describing, they're not available. I mean, it's not like you yourself now. I mean, you knew you were having this debate today. So it's not like you could have, within the week, have said, hey, I need to visit my surveyor, my local, geodetic team, and, ask them, how did they do this? Do they have the demonstrations and such like? So this is why I asked you, have you done it? You said no. Do you know who's done it? No. But you're assuming there are doctors out there curing people that nobody has ever been to those doctors of any kind, or no one's ever spoke to those surveyors. Now, again, you say there are these people, but where are the demonstrations of somebody actually measuring physical Earth curve?
Bedford Levels experiment, Jeranism, he's a great one. Mm-hmm. When it was like, if I have my camera here, the Earth's flat. If I have to lift it 4 feet up, the Earth's curved. He lifts it up. He stated beforehand what he believed was going to happen. It happened. He had to lift the camera. Oh, interesting. That is visible proof for anybody to watch. They can work the numbers out themselves. Mm-hmm. And it shows, it's a lovely experiment because it shows bendy water as well. So it's kind of like a 2-in-1. What
was the measurement you said? You said there was a measurement.
It doesn't matter about the measurement. It matches what the globe would predict. I don't know the measurement exactly. I just know, and I'm stating what I say from. Well, because I'm saying that's what Jeranism said. I'm quoting Jeranism, and he basically stated, if the Earth is flat, I will see the light from this distance. If I have to raise 4 feet up, I think it's about 17 feet. You have to be above the water, because then it really does help with that damn refraction that old Robotham used to use to his advantage to make it look like the Earth was flat. So that's about as far as I know with it. But again, something that many people can do, and many people do yearly at Bedford Level, is to prove that level means bendy water.
Okay, so I mean, again, this sounds like an anecdotal story, which is why flat Earth is on the rise. People are doubting the globe. So again, other than your anecdotal story, do we have? Because we can move into another subject. Because I don't want to kind of hang around on a subject that we don't have evidence for. So other than just the fact that
as I've had so many anecdotal stories, how about let's have some from you? Who's measured the flat Earth?
Well, this is what I've just said. In terms of measurements, we don't know anybody who has made measurements of the Earth, either flat or nobody that we can refer to or recommend has made any measurements. It appears so that nobody is making measurements of the Earth, and that's what we're here to find out: is why are people not taking measurements of the entire Earth? Is it because the Earth is flat and it's too big, and you obviously can't circumnavigate from north to south? I mean, these are the reasons. These are the things we have to ask ourselves: is why is there no one that we can refer to? Like with the doctor, we go to the doctors, we can speak to our doctor, we can tell the doctors the problem. But we can't speak to anybody who has made measurements, physical measurements, of the Earth's radius or of any kind of curvature. So again, you're saying that we see bendy water. I mean, we see all sorts of things. People see all sorts of things. We don't live life based on someone says they saw Santa Claus, so we believe that Santa Claus exists. Obviously, we would need, practical demonstrations of such a claim. So
that's what you're believing without practical demonstration. You've just literally said, I don't need demonstrations, I don't need measurements. But you've ruled out Santa Claus. You've ruled out Santa Claus. How have you disproved him? How have you disproved the globe and actually said, yeah, I've got a better idea, the Earth's flat? Like there's nothing coming from your side. Yes, I've got anecdotal stories that you can back up and check yourself. That's what I'm telling you. But there's nothing coming from your side apart from, oh, you know, someone else did it, so I'm not gonna take that in. But that's what I'm telling you, is you can actually just go and actually do these yourself. Do you live in the UK? I would even suggest come to the Bedford levels. I'm planning on doing it next year, so come along if you're free. I mean, I'm literally here because I'm a true seeker.
How would you measure the curvature then? Walk me through it. How would we go about measuring the curvature?
Well, that's something we could discuss nearer the time. You know, we'd work out a hypothesis and think to ourselves, what would happen if the Earth was flat? What would happen with the given globe numbers if the Earth was a globe? We could sit and work it out ourselves. And then you go and do the experiment, watch it with your own eyes. I think, like most flat earthers, I haven't seen it with my own eyes, so therefore cannot exist, even though there's so much stuff on this earth that exists that I've never ever seen, and I've just taken people's word for it. You know, I've just taken people's word that India exists. I've taken people's word that I'm breathing air, you know, but it's there. We keep alive because these things are there. We take most of our life on blind faith, because people are trustworthy. There has to be a distrust. So you must distrust so many people, so many things, as I did when I was a flat earther, to even think that it is possible. Why would people have to hide the shape of the earth, Spurskimo? Please tell me.
I mean, once again, we can definitely get into all of those things if there's time. But I mean, again, is this you conceding then that we're not on a globe?
Not at all. This is me absolutely giving you many proofs that we do indeed, well, many pieces of evidence that we do indeed live on a globe, that we can both go out and test ourselves on the same day. And yeah, I'm not conceding at all. I mean, let's go on to another point then. We're saying we don't know.
Before we do, so just to clear up this measurement thing, you're saying, because I don't want to make it a lot. We've talked about lots of different things. All we've spoke about is the measurement for the radius or for the curvature. And so far you've said Jaren looked through a hole and said, oh, that looks like bendy water. So there hasn't actually been any measurement so far. Then you kind of said, well, then we can go to the Bedford level and then we can think of a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said we can think of a way how to make a measurement to comport with the model that we've already reified. So again, that's kind of a problem because, again, we're presupposing that there will be curvature instead of just measuring curvature, you see?
But you've got to presuppose something to be able to measure it. And if what you measure is then presupposed right, then it's right. If you presuppose it's flat, you could go there presupposing it's flat and do all the math or working out that you needed to do to satisfy yourself that what we see in that telescope will match a flat planet. You know, there'll be something that you should believe you should see through that telescope's eye. And then when you look through it, does it match what you thought you would see? You know, that's a basis to go from, is to assume the Earth is flat.
Okay, so we can get into your philosophy if you want, but again, just to wrap that measurement point up, because again, you're saying we'll go in the future to do this, but prior to that, we're saying that there is nobody right now that you know of that you can show practically who has made measurements of the radius of the Earth.
Like I say, there's many people. Mr. Sensible Mage 2, he's somebody that has proved Earth's curvature rather lovely. There's even a video you can watch yourself. I can't remember his name exactly, but it's literally called Proving the Earth Shape with Two Sticks. And yes, go and watch, people. Go and watch. You said this, you said that. But you can do these yourself.
Let me just jump in here and bring Aimee in quick. We've got a couple of super chats and some questions she wants to direct around. So let's give Aimee a little control, and it's her show right now.
All righty. Thank you so much. So we've got some super chats first. I'll do those. We've got Ox for $2. He says, flat earther is to truth as religion is to reality. Cheesemondo for $5 says, commercial space travel is a thing now. Richard Branson just mic dropped on FE and destroyed it. Sarcastic Barman for £5 said, Earth equator, 24,000 miles. Antarctica Cup yacht race, 14,000 miles. Very odd. So we have those. And then we also have some questions that we'll get into. We have one from Colorado Biker for Spurs. He says, why is the bottom of a sextant curved in an arc? So if you want to go ahead and answer that, then I'll just go through each one if that's okay. That way it's easier. You don't have to
a sextant, as I understand, looks at the horizon. The horizon is not... is to give us the degrees, that arc, I assume, so they can assume the angles and the degrees to stars, to the horizon, things like that. But the problem is, again, is that because the horizon is not physical, it's not measurable, we cannot draw a tangent line to the horizon. So that's one of the best flat Earth proofs, is an apparent horizon.
Okay. Thank you.
A sextant will basically doesn't work how they think it works. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So now we've got one from Woden Toad as well. As she says, to Spurs, would you put the work in to learn trig and calculus?
I mean, again, yeah, these are interesting concepts, but again, you can't apply trigonometry to the real world because it's based on presuppositions. You have to presuppose your outcome in order to use geometry and trigonometry in the physical and natural world.
Okay, thank you. And now we have another question, which is, why can't FE crowdfund a trip to the designated South Pole and observe 24-hour sun? That FE means flat Earth, sorry.
Yeah, I understand. That's fine. First of all, 24-hour sun doesn't exist on a flat Earth, which we're on. So there's no observations. We have 2-minute time lapses that are cut, edited, and all over the place. And there is not a literal 24 hours of the sun in Antarctica, which is what we would need to verify that for us to get on a plane to go down there. There's no point going to Antarctica when we know it's just the ice wall, the edge. You get to explore a little region for the tourists, see the penguins, but self exploration is simply not possible. So yeah, there's no point in GoFunding a trip to Antarctica.
Okay, thank you. And then we have another question: is can we have a flat Earth map, please? And that's from Deadly Dave.
Yeah, as I said earlier on, the best map is Google Earth. Google uses a mixture of real-world images and mapping, real-world mapping, and then obviously you zoom out, and then you get your CGI animated globe, which is obviously not the real world. If it was the real world, they would be able to show us footage of a real globe zooming in and out without changing from animation to real-world images. So for me, I'm happy with Google Earth showing a flat map because, like I say, the curvature is merely cartoon animation, so that doesn't count.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. And then we have from Blue Marble Science. He says, in light of Biodual's irrefutable demonstration of mass attracting mass in a vacuum, is Chemo now prepared to admit that he was full of poop and when he said it wouldn't work?
Not at all. I mean, again, for 7 months we waited for the elusive mass attracting mass in a vacuum. He failed to do so. He showed lasers bouncing around on the torsion balance, which is not what we're looking for. We're looking for the mass attracting the mass, an observation of that phenomena in nature. So obviously we can predict the cause of this effect. So Biodual, he failed in this experiment. As I said, we do not see and observe phenomena of mass attracting mass, we see two lasers bouncing around simply due to the torsion bar, not because of the mass.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question we have, again from Blue Marble Science, he says, ask Chemo where I can find reference to relative density disequilibrium in his Bible. His ideas are all religious based. Surely the Bible talks about it.
No, I mean, these ideas are well known, understood by science, but because of the zealotry and the push for globalism, the heliocentric model, because of this, they put those things under the carpet, sweep them under the carpet, and try and push the illusion, which is gravity, which is not a force, has no experiments to back it up. It's a mathematical equation, which I'm sure SeekTruth would not even be able to explain the mathematics behind these forces or not forces or apparent accelerations or apparent forces, pseudo forces as it were. So yeah, I mean, the whole idea of relative density disequilibrium is what the experiment shows. We can manipulate our independent variable, which is the density. We can see cause and effect. So like I say, these things are practical, which is why they put those things to one side.
Okay, thank you. And then these are all for you tonight. We have one from Odin Toad who asks, do you believe college math is indoctrination? And have you ever taken a college level math class?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at these equations, but again, these equations have no correlation with the real world. I mean, if we're going to use, as I've said before, with trigonometry and geometry, we have to include presuppositions. There's no way around it, because we're not actually making physical and practical measurements. These equations are simply a waste of time, because you can build mountains of lies and nonsense with equation after equation, and as we can see now, our reality looks nothing like the equations they put forward.
Okay, thank you. And then we have just two more questions left, which is good. This one is from Blue Marble Science. Ask Chemo why all 4 LIGO arms show a drop of 8 inches per mile squared.
I mean, again, that's something that the globe earthers like to talk about and reference it as globe proof. But again, there's no practical demonstration of them actually making these measurements. Again, it's just a story to support the narrative, as far as I'm concerned. Which obviously, in this day and age, we would need the practical demonstration to back up that claim.
Okay, thank you. And then the last question is, for you, of course. It says, you can visit the pole on a tourist tour, so why not do it? No denial this time. Why not do it?
Absolutely. Like I said, we know you can take cruises from South America and New Zealand or either Australia. There are 2 places that you can visit. Visit the penguins. You can walk around the ice in this region, but you're not allowed to explore on your own, far and wide, to traverse north to south. You need permits. And you'll be turned back if you try to go anywhere else to Antarctica than the ports that you're given.
Okay, well, thank you very much for those. That was the last of the questions, so thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Aimee.
You're welcome.
All right,
Anytime.
awesome. So we're not too pushed for time yet. We've got a little bit that we can still do. So if you guys want to, after the questions there, rehash any topics, we've got 15 minutes or so here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, let's do it. I was going to bring up the distance to the moon and like how we know it. So there's a method known as lunar laser ranging, and basically you measure the distance to the moon, obviously by pointing a laser at the moon, measuring how long that comes back. A physical object, the moon becomes a physical object because it's bouncing something off it. And then B, we are then gaining the distance to the moon. So we know how far away the moon is, and it is far, far away, way too far away for it to be a close and local moon. What would you say to that? I mean, how could you counteract that with some type of evidence of your own?
I mean, again, these are claims that cannot be substantiated in any way. You see, I mean, again, you're just, I mean, if I were just to accept it and believe it, I obviously would repeat this to somebody else, they'd repeat it to somebody else, so on and so forth. So, I mean, again, where the buck stops is where the person asks for the practical demonstration of measurements to the moon.
But the buck could stop at you doing it yourself, if you know what I mean. That science is open, and a lot of it is repeatable yourself, if you know what I mean. So that is what I'm trying to get across to you, is obviously you're asking, show me, but there's nothing better than actually seeing it yourself, because any time I've brought up somebody saying, here it is, they're showing you, you say, but you didn't do it yourself. So I'm trying to cut out the middleman and offer you that opportunity to actually, think to yourself, I'm going to go out and actually measure this and come up with an idea of what would happen if this was flat. What would I see if this was curved? There's no actual evidence other than, it looks flat to me. What else do you have?
Well, like I said, you keep on saying that we have people, and again, we're looking for those people. You're saying that I can do it myself. If it's already been done, and somebody's done it, then I shouldn't have to do it myself. You shouldn't have to do it yourself, which is why I'm asking you.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
This should already have been known. You're saying it's been known. Thousands of people have done this, but not once has it been documented in a way where we can observe and verify that the people who say that they're measuring curve are actually measuring curve. You see, so as we understand it, right?
What it sounds like, what you want is like a separate governing body of what is science and what isn't. What should we expect, what isn't. There's a collection, like a collection of knowledge, and even to measure a flat planet, you would have to use the collection of knowledge that has been built up by previous geniuses in maths and things, and you would still be using globe earthers mathematics to even try and prove a flat earth. So you can't even really claim that maths isn't usable. There's a great website, mctoon.net/r, and there are many options to look at and verify yourself, to then go out and do yourself. And because you keep, I'm not going to be able to sit on this stream and go out and measure the shape of the planet, but I'm telling you many ways that you could yourself. But there's nothing coming your way.
So let me write down those ways. Let me write down. So what's the first way I can? I'll write them down. Got my pencil and paper. So the first way I can measure curvature is how?
Dude, there's I've listed loads. If you're that interested, you can go back and watch. Do you know what I mean? I can't just.
Eratosthenes. I've got that down. Eratosthenes. What you didn't mention any other way?
I mentioned loads, but like I say, you can go back and actually just watch it yourself, dude. If you know what I mean. There's no point.
Let's look at.
Hold on, guys. We're getting a little steppy again. Let's let each other finish our things first, okay?
Yeah. He's saying I can go back and look. That's fine. What about the Earth turn? How do we know the Earth is moving? Because I don't feel it, obviously. You don't feel it. And we're told that you wouldn't feel it, which is fair enough. Mm-hmm. So if we wouldn't feel it, how do we know then it's moving?
Well, I'll try and explain first my reasoning as to why you wouldn't feel it move. Do you agree that the claimed globe could be scaled down to the size of a basketball and, be a representation of our Earth quite accurately?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay. I kind of guessed that. a basketball, imagine that basketball turning once in 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree with me that that ball is turning rather slowly?
Yes.
Scale that basketball now up to the size of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And if that Earth turns once in 24 hours, is that rotating fast or slowly?
So that's quite slowly, yeah?
Yes. So we would not feel one turn in 24 hours, no matter how big an object. An ant on a basketball, you spin that basketball once, it would have no idea it was moving around. So not feeling we're moving is a weak argument. But there is
fair enough. So how do we know that we're turning?
many ways. Foucault pendulum, you can actually again measure your actual longitude. You just basically get a pendulum.
Foucault pendulum. How does that work?
Yeah. I don't know exactly. I have not done it myself, but I have seen many people do it.
Okay.
I do know that it works.
Sorry?
I do know that it works.
No, you said you don't know how it works, yeah?
I don't know how it works, yeah.
You don't know how it works.
The premise of it, though, really is to basically, beforehand, you'd push an object forwards and back, and after a while, if what was underneath it is turning, that would start to have a precession. It's quite a really canny way, and Mr. Foucault is an absolute genius to even think of it, to be able to prove how slow our motion is, but still be able to pick it up. And that's why it has to be from a big height.
Please, I'm just trying to understand how we know the Earth. So you're saying a pendulum, we swing the pendulum, okay, and then it precesses. How do you correlate Earth turn?
Because that is what would happen. If the Earth was flat and non-moving, there would be no measurable, accurate precession that is just done over and over again at different latitudes, longitudes. If you're on a flat Earth, it would just be sporadical, wouldn't it? You know, it would just be the wind that's moving it or affecting it. But that movement proves that there is movement within whatever that object is standing on.
Okay, so are you saying there's a pendulum now in perpetual motion?
It won't be in perpetual motion. It won't last forever because the rotation is so slow. Because it's such a hard thing to actually pick up. That's why we need like gyroscopes and thanks, Bob. Loads of other things like that to be able to.
Bob. Is that from the show?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, and I find it just so funny and ironic that two flat earthers said beforehand, if this shows something, the Earth can't be flat. They then showed it and just denied it. Came up with reasons.
Let's talk about Bob's experiment. How does it work?
Well, it's going to pick up. It's something to do with the way the light travels. I'm no expert within that field. I don't claim to be. That's why I follow the actual experts, the people that use these in their day-to-day lives, navigators, people flying planes, the people that need these in their day-to-day lives to actually stay alive. I follow those people. I put trust in those people that the science that they're using is helping that plane get from A to B without causing catastrophe, basically. So yeah, I do put some trust in these things that do help with life, but it's a way to measure light, and the way the light is traveling, that's as far as I know. But my trust, like I say, does go to the experts.
So like, you're saying that thanks Bob, but you don't know why you're thanking him. What did he do?
No,
how did he?
Well, he said beforehand, if this ring laser gyroscope shows a 15-degree drift, that will match what the globe will predict. And then
so I'm asking about the machine. How does it work?
It doesn't matter how it works. Like I say, there's other ways. That's why I love the pendulum, because you don't need to be an engineer. You just need to have the capability of maybe quite a large building. It's going to be a cheap experiment, so a very, very good, easy way to know that we are moving and in a measurable way at many different locations on Earth. So I'd use that as a good one.
How do we know that precession isn't caused by you?
Well, you wouldn't be there, would you?
But you let it go. So how do you know that because you let it go, it swung in that fashion?
Well, that's why you do the test 100 times. You'd do it over and over again. You'd probably even push it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, see what happened. Push it 90 degrees this way, 90 degrees that way, what happens? And then that's when they start to work out like, every single time we do this, that happens. They'll probably even use machinery, systems that just, always let something drop that always goes in the same direction. And yeah, that's how they work out, is the repetition of these experiments all around the globe.
Well, like I say, you've got this swinging pendulum, but the cause to that is what? That you let it go? How are you going to manipulate your cause to this effect?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, this is what I would do to prove it to myself, because I'm not a scientist, but I would use... I'd use me marbles and just think, if the Earth was flat and not moving, if I did this 100 times, it's going to be more or less the same every time, but there would be no real deviation unless I gave it a force this way or a force that way. But that's why you just pull it back and let it go, and then you would try pushing it this way, pushing it that way, and then you could work out, maybe if I tried this somewhere else on the globe or on the flat planet, if I believe it's flat, I'll try it somewhere else. You go there, it's kind of matching what the globe predicts again. Do you know what I mean? And that's where people start to realize.
Just to wrap this part up, so that would be the same effect, right? So we still don't know what's causing this effect. We're presupposing rotation, you see? Okay, so
presuppose no rotation. That's what I'm trying to say. Is if you presuppose no rotation, then you would have to presuppose something and think, well, nothing's going to happen. Do you agree that unless you pushed it one way, there would be nothing measurable to happen, would there, if we weren't moving? So that's why I suggest that this is good evidence that we do actually rotate, because I would assume on a flat, non-rotating Earth, nothing really is going to affect that pendulum unless I manipulate it in a way, move it one way, push it another.
Sorry, guys. I got to jump in here. Amy's got a couple of super chats, and then we're going to do wrap-ups. We're getting close to the end here. Aimee, you come in. We'll give them each a last word when you're done, and we can all say goodnight and stuff.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So we've got a super chat. It was from, stupid notifications. Hang on here. I got to get it back up again. It's not working. People need to be quiet in Discord. Okay, the super chat is from Sarcastic Barman for £5. Ooh, look, a tour that goes to the South Pole and see 24-hour sun. Heaven forbid a flat earther would lie that you can't go there. Tour link in the chat. And there was a link in the chat a lot earlier, so I'm sure it's scrolled up. But that was the only super chat we had.
Okay,
So
we'll also put that link in our Discord server for everybody as well, just in case. Yep. And I'll edit the description after and put it in the description. What the hell? We'll get it in there. So anything else you need to cover, Aimee?
Nope, that should do it. The only thing I wanted to say is thank you to both participants. Thank you, STST and Spurskimo, for coming on tonight. And I did want to thank everyone in the chat for their questions and their participation in this as well. Thank you.
All right,
Nice,
cool.
nice.
So,
Thanks.
yeah. So let's hear from our debaters, competitors, opponents. Maybe opponents is the one we should use. I'll figure it out anyway. I'll stop mumbling here. So, Seek Truth, Speak Truth. We'll give you the floor first. Thoughts and wrap-ups on the evening. How you feeling?
Yeah, really good, really good. I thought it went pretty well, considering this was my second ever debate. You know, I know Mr. Keysmo's been on the circuit quite a bit, so I think I held my own with quite a veteran of the scene, shall I say? And I think to anyone with a level that Globular had, they will see that I was the victor this evening. And yeah, thanks for having me along. Spurs, thanks, mate. It was actually a really good chat. I tried not to get too heated. There was a couple of times when I watered to a little bit, but no, thank you for being quite a gentleman.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
well, let's turn to you right now, Spurskimo. The floor is yours. Thoughts and wrap-ups on the evening. How you feeling?
I mean, again, this is it's not my burden of proof to provide evidence for what we observe. This is self-evident. And, I tried to keep away from declaring that you have a religion, because that was kind of the angle last time. So, I tried to present something to demonstrate that your model is broken, which I did do. This is impossible on a globe. The eclipse that we observe with the sun rising and the moon still visible in the daytime. This is impossible on the globe. The sun has to obviously set, cause the shadow of the earth on the moon, and that's how your lunar eclipse would work. So, as far as, you said you did quite well. I mean, personally, I think you did quite poorly because you didn't understand how Eratosthenes is conducted. You didn't understand how the gyroscope is conducted. You're praising and thanking people, like thanks Bob, and you don't actually know why you're thanking him. Okay, so for me, you have a lot to work on in terms of learning more about the heliocentric model, understanding how how these things work. You're asking for maps, you're asking for models. Would you even understand the models, the maps that you're looking at? I'm not so sure. So you kind of say there are thousands of people doing things. It's all over the place. Again, I'm gonna have to touch on this. This is no different from the religious argument, which is what I had last time I was here. We just believe, and you've said yourself, you just trust. You compared it to a doctor, which again is a bad analogy because we can speak.
We can't go too long. Sorry to step in, buddy, but we can't go too long.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So basically, that's pretty much it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. You will have to, look back at this and you'll see where you couldn't answer simple questions that you're supposed to know about the model. We don't have a model, so again, I can't answer things that we haven't measured or practically explored. So yeah, that in a nutshell. But thank you for the debate. Actually, that was a pleasure to have this. Aimee, you've been fantastic. Dick, you've been fantastic. So yeah, that's pretty much me wrapped up.
Excellent. Great words. Thank you. So yes, first off, before I get into a thanks here, I want to see everybody's vote in the chat now. So I want to see a 1 in the chat if STST walks away the winner, and I want to see a number 2 in the chat if Chemo's walking away the winner. And as you guys are putting your numbers in the chat, I want to give a big thanks to both Spurskimo and Seek Truth, Speak Truth for exactly doing what you both gave each other credit for, having a really good, perfect conversation. I think I needed to jump in twice in the free moment. I mean, I was barely even needed, guys. So great. Thank you. That's exactly what we're hoping for, is good conversation. So Seek Truth, thank you very much for coming on and being a part of the show.
No worries, mate. Anytime, buddy. I'll, bring them on.
Awesome. And Spurskimo, again, thank you for being a part of it, and we hope we can count on seeing you again soon.
Absolute pleasure, Dick. Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right, and on that note, fellow babies, I say from Aimee and everybody, we're going to say it all in unison anyway, but it's time for us to get out of here. Shills debate night. Remember, opinions are respected, but facts are revered, and in the end, the best argument wins. Let's say goodnight, fellow babies. We're out of here. Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Keep it global.
Remember, eat snacky s'mores. It's doing that thing again.